There we go. Hello, hello. So excited for today. But to just start with some intros. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Lindsay Benitez, founder of Lindsay B Coaching and a certified coach and speaker with a mission to empower leaders at all levels to redefine what success means, build and embrace their authenticity and confidence, and actively design their dream careers and lives. In this LinkedIn Live series that I do monthly, I bring fellow founders, first generation trailblazers, and incredible leaders who have inspired me throughout my journey that I know are going to inspire you. And I'm so excited for my guest today, Dr. Jaime Regosa. And the first question I'm going to ask you before I read your bio, which I ask everybody, is how are you feeling today? And if you don't know already, I don't allow good, fine, or busy because everybody says that. And I really want to know how you're doing today.
I am blessed. I am very happy. I started off the day with a laughter yoga class, so right now I'm very joyful and full of energy.
Beautiful. I still need to join one of your laughter yoga classes. I'm like waiting for the calendar to align. So can't wait for that one. Awesome. So for proper intros, Dr. Jaime Giregosa, pronouns he, him, él, is a career and executive coach, organizational psychology practitioner, and laughter yoga teacher. He supports LGBTQ+, BIPOC, and neurodivergent professionals through holistic career development, leadership coaching, burnout prevention, and trauma-informed strategies that help clients grow with clarity, confidence, and sustainability. Jaime brings 15 plus years of experience across government, nonprofit, and public sector systems and integrates evidence based coaching with practical tools for workplace well being and inclusive leadership. So, if anyone knows my work, they know how much I love people that do similar minded work. So, I'm so excited to talk to you because I think you bring such a unique blend of everything. Everything I just read out loud is awesome. So, I'm excited to get into it. But before I jump into some questions, I was actually reflecting on you and how we met. And I think this is really cool because I hear, and our theme for today is building community. And what I hear a lot is, man, it's lonely to be in certain leadership levels. It's lonely to be an entrepreneur. It's lonely, et cetera, and all these types of roles. I can say in HR, when I was in HR, it's extremely lonely to be in that kind of role. But we can create our community by being so intentional and thoughtful and just asking. So you actually, I think you just like added me on Instagram and I saw your profile and I'm like, oh, I don't know him, but cool. Like it looked like we were at the same conference or something. Like there was enough in your profile that I'm like, cool connection. Like this guy looks cool. And I just messaged you, like literally, I'm going to read it right now. Back in May last year. Thanks for connecting. Looks like we missed meeting each other at CAR, which is the conference I was talking about. I look forward to learning more about your work and maybe there's a collab in our future. And that was it. And I'm like, maybe he responds, maybe he doesn't. And you did with the most thoughtful response immediately. You're like, yeah, let's do a virtual coffee chat, potential collab in the future. Let's talk. And we've talked multiple times since then. I completely admire so much of what you're doing, which we're going to get into. But I think that was such a proud moment for me, honestly, where I'm like, I was intentional. I actually asked for something, which a lot of first gen friends just don't know how to ask for things. And I was intentionally building community. So just wanted to say I was proud of that. And thank you for reaching out.
Of course, you should be. I mean, for me, I was looking at the hashtag car, seeing like who else is going, what are people, what's the popular workshop to go to, and I saw you doing a story of talking about like, hey, I'm here. Feel free to say hi. So I was like, let me add her.
Yeah, literally, like it could be that easy to, you never know who is going to be someone that you're going to learn from. You, and we'll get into this, but you've opened up some doors for me already. We're going to be speaking at a conference in a couple months. So that I think is incredibly powerful. You never know if you just ask and start to build relationships from the beginning. Cool. So I want, especially after reading your bio, there's so much that you blend. Like, yes, you're a career coach, but you're so much more than that. You have a heavy emphasis on well-being, that holistic strategy, even laughter yoga, which again, I love so much. But can you tell us more about kind of your approach that you've built and why it's so important for people to focus on their wellness as well in order to build these meaningful careers.
Yeah, I think at a young age, but it comes from like me first being first generation, right? I was embedded that you need to like work, you rest when you're done. That was my dad's always.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that, and it was able to succeed pretty efficiently in my life, but a part of me was dying every single time. Every promotion, every overtime, little by little, I just felt like I was lost. And it wasn't until I ended up hospitalized because of how I got really ill from everything that, all the stress and whatnot. And I need to stop. I need to do something about this. And it was just a life-changing moment where I just don't want anybody to kind of go through that again. So I made a shift in my life where I started being more healthy. I started focusing more on me, setting boundaries. And I noticed that people around me started looking at me weird. They're like, how is it that somebody who is a director, somebody who's an executive director, how are you taking breaks? How are you like taking vacations? Don't you feel guilty? Like, isn't everything going to crumble when you leave? And I was like, no. I was like, that's why you have fail safes. That's why you have VPs. That's why you have like, assistant supervisors. You have to set a system in place for you to be successful and still be able to take your break. And people thought that was like an innovative thing. And I was like, it's not. We just made it a culture to be like that.
Oh my God, I want to double down on that so hard because that is gold what you just said right now. And in case anyone missed it, like hear it again. You can take breaks and be incredibly successful. I love what you said, like, are people going to look at me weird? Anytime I hear a client say that, like, what are people going to think if I put blocks on my calendar, if I go take a walk? I'm like, tell them what to think. Right? It's like if you're sitting there assuming, tell them what to think. Like, hey, I blocked off this time because I need time to work on this. Here's when I'm available for meetings. Or ask them to join you on these walks. Hey, I'm going to go take a quick walk. You need a break? We're going to be so much better when we come back refreshed. Mm-hmm. But what you said is like, people are going to look at me weird. So how did you battle that, by the way, in the beginning?
It was a lot of trial and error. It's testing out different things, being able to learn different modalities, and then seeing what worked, what didn't work. One of like the biggest like mind-blowing things for some people was whenever we had a group meeting, we had like some sensitive like case management stuff or things like that. I worked in a lot of social service. It was, okay, what is everybody's capacity today before we start? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your battery like? Do you feel like 0? I got no sleep. I have like a lot of things going on. I just need to focus on work. Or 10, I actually have a lot of capacity. I'm well rested. I feel like I'm good. And people were like, well, I'm like at a 2, I'm at a 3, I'm at a 4. And I was like, okay, let's cancel today's meeting. It looks like we're not going to be in the right mindset to absorb this information. So let's move it on for another time when people actually have the time to do it. And they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I'll turn this meeting into an email. I'll send all my topics. Y'all can like go on a Google Doc, we'll go back and forth. You obviously don't have the capacity to do this. So why am I going to force you to do this? And people were like, is that an option? Like we can just meetings? Like what? Like, and I was like, yes. Like, why am I going to force you through something that is not going to work for you? We have to be able to adapt and listen. There's one of my biggest pet peeves when I used to work in HR. Why are we sending out a survey if we're not listening to the results?
100%. So much of what you just said right there, the meeting piece especially. How many times do people just force meetings because it's already on the calendar? You know it's not productive and you're just dragging along. And I say this all the time. Anyone who's been in my workshops has probably heard me say this a couple times. But I'm like, we have too many meetings because we didn't listen to the first one. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like we're like doing follow-ups to the follow-ups to the follow-ups because we didn't listen to the first one because we weren't at the right capacity. We didn't clear our minds ahead of that meeting, or we weren't clear on our communication of what this meeting is even about. So there's like all these pieces, but yet I hear this from so many clients. Like I had 12 meetings today. I'm like, why? Right? Like we need to be way more thoughtful with our time, our energy, and our capacity to listen. So I love that too. Cancel them and be thoughtful.
What you said right there is the most important question is ask why. We need to kind of go with that toddler mentality of like when they were like, why this, why that, why that. We need to challenge the status quo and really understand why is this system in place? Does it maybe it used to serve us back in the day, but we've evolved into a different company. We've evolved into a different, group and size. So is this still effective? Like one of my agencies that I used to work at, we used to have 4 meetings every single month. It was every Monday we had a meeting. And that was when there was they started this when there was a group of 3. But now we were a group of 15.
Mhm.
And it's like, is it effective to be doing this many frequent meetings when there's nothing on the agenda?
Right.
Other than just like wasting time. So I was like, no. I was just like, there's different ways, there's different mentalities. Ask why.
Yes, 100%. One thing I forgot to mention for anyone watching, if you have any questions for Dr. Jaime, put them in the comments, the chat. We can see them and happy to answer them. Or if you're catching the recording to this, because I know our schedules are all over the place, message us and add it into the comments as well. Any questions you have, we're happy to answer. Awesome. One thing that really stood out to me is when I first got to know you and just reading your bio again right now is this idea of visibility. And you very, much call it out of you support LGBT, BIPOC, and neurodivergent folks that you work with and leaders, right? Why does that kind of visibility matter? And what happens when people don't see that visibility or don't feel safe to have those kinds of conversations about who they are? Especially like those 3, and that intersectionality too, right, is huge.
It matters because if you don't see yourself in certain levels of management, if you don't see yourself out there, then you don't see that as that's a me issue, right? Like I didn't know that for me, my work ethic was an issue until, I had the problem and I ended up getting my own help through therapy and my own set of coaches. And it was different for me being able to listen it from people who didn't look like me, that didn't think like me, that didn't have that cultural background versus someone who I can skip all that fluff. They just get me, right? And then sometimes we get bad advice because people it's not that they're a bad person, they just don't understand. Like I had one therapist that I talked to that I said, I just can't, cut my parents off like that. Like they did everything for me. And they're like, why not? Just cut them off. And I'm like, then you obviously don't understand Hispanic culture. We don't just do that. It's not just like, bye. Family is everything in our culture. That's like literally cutting off a piece of my identity. And that little bit is what I don't want any of my clients to like feel like they're missing. I want it to be a good fit, right? So I have clients that come to me saying like, I just feel like I'm lazy. I feel like I don't belong. I feel like this and I feel like that. And I was like, maybe not. Like you're not. It's not that you're lazy. Your brain works different. You're neurodivergent, right? We don't get motivated the same ways. We can't punish ourselves for trying to fit as a neurotypical. So it's important to be visible because then people understand you and you feel less alone.
Oh, 100%, that less alone piece. And I think kind of on the flip side of finding people that do understand. I mean, we're never going to understand anyone's exact stories, but there are a lot of similarities, like you mentioned. I know a lot of first gen and Latino families that what you just said about like taking care of your family, that's just part of the culture, right? There's so many of these nuances that we know, if you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but like I have spent so much time trying to explain that to others that will just never understand. And those are the spaces where I was just trying to bring awareness and kind of hitting my head against the wall of like, why don't they get it? Because they won't. Like people will never understand unless they've had similar experiences. And even then, no one's ever going to understand your story 100%. But and I think something that we both do that is so powerful and I'm proud of us for is talking about this openly. Right. I never saw coaches like me or speakers like me. Right. And I think that's something that caught my eye so quickly about you. I'm like, we have so much in common. Okay. I'm not alone. Like that is huge. That feeling of I'm not alone in this. There's others that we can support each other, collaborate. It's not a competition because you can't coach like me and I can't coach like you. Right. So there's a lot of opportunity to learn. And I think if we come from that place, we're just gonna be so much stronger when we remember that. Lean on each other.
Exactly. There was one specific moment that kind of like really made it clear for me that transparency and visibility is important. I took a director job for this contracting gig and it was only for 6 months, but being there, I put like on my office like a pride flag And then I also put like, you are welcome here are my pronouns. And on my first day, I had a person come up to me, and they sat down and they're like, can I talk to you? I was like, yeah. I was like, this is the first place that I feel that I can work and just be myself. I don't feel like I have to mask up and pretend like I'm not cool, right? And it's just like the fact that you are visibly putting that on your office, and you're showing us, and you're like, at the time I had my partner pictures of them like all over my office. They're like, this really gives me hope that, you know, I can find places like this where I can feel safe. And that just like clicked, because I was like, you have to be able to put it out there to make people feel like it's normal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's beautiful. And I will share, you know, some people are thankfully more comfortable to express themselves. And I think the more we can and show that authenticity, it's so powerful. Like I feel like I have to come out every day because most people see me and don't know that my partner is not a man, right? So what's so interesting with that is in the beginning, especially people would ask like, "Oh, what does your husband do?" or whatever. And I would just hide because I didn't feel safe. And it was just easier to hide, right? Now I'm like, "Oh no, yeah, she does this." And I think that no matter what, every single time it feels like a little cut. Like I have to come out every single time. So I think what you're doing of just being open, creating a space, by the way, which we were going to talk about because it's one of my favorite spaces that you've created for LGBT and allies. I think that visibility, that power of community is so huge, so needed. And I didn't realize how much I needed that. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Of course.
So speaking of, can you tell us a little bit more about this community that you created?
Yeah, so it's called the Unicorn Coaching Network, and I created it for two main reasons. One, I wanted, like you said, being in these professions, it can be very lonely, right? We don't have coworkers, we're entrepreneurs, we're doing speaking gigs, we're doing coaching, most of it by ourselves. If we're lucky, sometimes we get maybe a couple other coaches that we can work with, but majority of the time, it's just us. So I wanted to create a community where people can collaborate, work together, and lean on each other on things that, like they said, they understand. You don't have to explain yourself because you know the field and you'll have the similar issues. But also, I noticed that there were some communities like that, but none of them were queer, none of them were BIPOC. You know, none of them were that specific. And I just, like, once again, I wanted to create a group where you can just take that layer off, not pretend, and just come in authentically. Just come in with, like, you know, I lean on Brene Brown a lot, like taking off that armor and then just being vulnerable, because that's how true connection happens, and that's how like solutions really come up. Because if we're pretending to be something, then we never get to the root of the problem, so we can't fully help you, like, and help one another, right? Because we are not willing to just be ourselves.
Yeah. That piece of helping one another too. And I don't know I'm blanking on how you like labeled it with the different pillars, but one thing that you do in this community, which is so darn cool, is share. Here's a resource. Here's an upcoming conference. Here's a grant. Here's a speaking event. Like it's not just you gatekeeping. You are so generous with sharing opportunities. Can you tell me where that came from and why that's important for you?
For me, it was from things that I learned in the industry that I didn't like, right? So one of the reasons that I struggled so hard to get where I'm at was because I didn't know what I didn't know. And nobody would tell you because they kept it so close to themselves. So I told myself I would never be like that, because I want people under, above me, and even side by side to thrive. Because altogether, somos unidos. We're one collaborative. So if you thrive, I thrive. You know, like, and you have to be genuinely happy for each other. It's kind of thinking of that friendship where a true friend is not going to bring you down or be jealous of you. When you get successful, they're genuinely happy because you're happy and you're growing and you're prospering. If anything, I'm honored that you still keep me around because you're being so successful, type of thing, right? So that's the community that I wanted to build. So whenever I see things like, there's so much like people in the world, there's so much problems that not one person can solve it, right?
Yeah.
So if there's an abundance of like clients, abundance of opportunities, why not just share it and allow people to kind of work together to solve the issue together, right? So
Yeah.
that's my goal, is trying to get people and like people like you ended up getting into like certain conferences, and I've seen people getting other grants and getting different opportunities, and it just brings me so much joy to see all that success.
And we're finally going to meet in person at this conference that we're both speaking at. So I'm so excited about that.
Mhm.
And thank you. Yeah, that happened because you posted it on the Slack channel. And I was like, cool, this is totally aligned with what I do. And thank you for sharing. And we both got in. So even better.
Mhm.
I think that piece, that theme is something that's so powerful. And I want to just kind of zero in on it really quickly of collaboration over competition, because there are 1,001 coaches plus, right? Like there's so many coaches out there. There's so many trainers and speakers, and everybody has their unique flair. Everybody has their unique story, their unique approach, their unique thing that they love to share. And I think that's the coolest part, to just like learn from each other, understand. And I say that to myself all the time, like no one can coach like me and I can't coach like them. So how can we learn and support? And I love building my network of like, hey, I'm not the right speaker for you, but I know who is, and you need to contact them. I think what's really interesting, especially as I started on this journey, and I'm still fairly early, but I quickly started to notice those people that were gatekeeping, were like, no, don't want to help. And then, but I found tenfold the people that actually want to help. And I think it's more than we expect. And I think that's the coolest thing. If you know how to ask as well and receive and just be grateful and give back, I think that's an opportunity to like, how can I support you? How can I make sure that I'm providing visibility to you? And that's why we're here.
Exactly. And it's harder for us. I feel like the giving is easy, but it's harder for us to ask.
Yes.
But you're doing yourself a disservice by not asking.
Yeah.
It's like it's a give and take, right? And you should never do it as a monetary thing, but just saying like, here, I have these resources for you, and if there's anything that comes to mind, sure, it my way.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
hard.
Take my example. All I said was looking forward to learning more about you, potentially a future collab. And here we are.
Exactly.
I love it. We got a comment saying, if you thrive, I thrive. What a refreshing perspective that sadly doesn't always make it into the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. We have a few more minutes. One thing that we both love to talk about, and I love your take, is building authentic, inclusive spaces. Like, what does that mean? Like, how can leaders really create these spaces where people feel like they can show up authentically?
One, it's not assuming that you know what's best for the community.
Mm.
It's really going out there and finding out what is it that they want. How do they want to be recognized? How do they want to be spotlight? What is it that they will makes them feel safe? What are some things that maybe right now you're doing that is not making them feel safe? Being able to have those raw conversations. Like the first thing I started doing is having one-on-ones with my staff, sitting down and being like, hey, so I'm trying to create a culture that is inclusive, where you feel valued and you feel heard. What can I do to make you sure that you have those things? And then a lot of the times they would freeze. It's like deer in the headlights. What do you mean? I have an option. Like, is that something I can do? And I was like, yeah, just tell me. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no big or small ask. Just say it. Sky's the limit. If I can provide it within our budget, I'll try. And if I can't, then I'll try to compromise and find something, and I'll continue advocating for you. So then I created all this data, and then I started creating the culture like that. And like one thing is that they wanted outings, and they wanted very specific outings. So then I started doing that. So other things was recognition during work meetings. So I started doing that. We started giving out pseudo awards for people, and where they voted on it, and it was like a cute little thing. I advocated for a bit more raises. I advocated for more vacation time. Things like, your job is not only to serve the company, but also to serve your staff, right? And then the people around you, and in HR, whatever other position you're in, is just being able to create a space where everybody feels heard, and reminding them your voice matters.
Yeah.
What you feel, what you say, it matters. So please speak up. And if you notice the ones that are not, encourage them to, because a lot of the times it's ingrained in their mind not to. So it takes a little bit of time and practice to get that out.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you, and it kind of in your experience, because what I've noticed is people don't know what to ask for. They've never been asked what they need. They don't even know what they need. So I hear this from managers like, oh, just if you have any questions or let me know what you need. And it's like, they don't, because they don't even know how to begin to ask. So being aware of that, giving ideas, having a meaningful dialogue, asking questions, and actually listening to the answers and listening for what's not being said is so important too.
Yeah, and
Love
it's like
that.
little things like pay attention to what doesn't bring you joy at work, and is there ways to fix that,
Hmm.
right? There are some things that are minor inconveniences that you just brushed off that it's just part of the job. Does it have to be, right? So it's like those little things. Those are the things that we can fix.
Cool. Love that. Um, I could talk to you forever. Our time is flying. One question that I love to ask people, speaking of, because a lot of people don't know how to talk about themselves or don't like talking about themselves. So I want to ask you, what's something that has happened recently that you're really proud of, or that you're looking forward to that you're proud of?
So I did get accepted. I've been applying for 4 years in a row for this conference, and I finally got accepted. It's the IVAC conference, the Violence and Intervention in Hawaii. So I
Awesome. Yes.
so I'm going in 3 weeks. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. Congratulations. What a cool place. What island in Hawaii?
It's Honolulu.
Okay. Oh my gosh, you're gonna cool. I aspire to be you one day. I travel to speak in Hawaii, manifesting that now. I love that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very cool. Um, where can people find you? What's coming up for you? How can people learn more about your events, your services? Tell us.
Yeah. So if you visit rainbowcareercoaching.com, that's also my tag handle for all my social media. You can find out any new workshops or speaking engagements that I'm doing or any programming. And I'm actually doing a collab with the Hana House in Newport Beach, if anybody's around, where I am going to be talking about creating career success and also how to network better. So, 2 different workshops, 2 different opportunities. And if you're there, if you're around the area, say hi.
Very cool. Even though we're both in SoCal, Newport is so far from me, but I'm going to make something happen. Absolutely. A few minutes left. A lot of people that I talk to that follow my content and follow yours are first gen leaders, people that are kind of navigating things without a roadmap, people that are the first to do a lot in their families. And it might be lonely again, but it should also, I like to see it as an opportunity, not a limit. Right. So, any advice as a first gen leader that you have for people that are like earlier in their career or just trying to understand what it means to feel confident and successful in whatever they want to create?
Yeah. The biggest advice I would have to say is when thinking about the 5 most important people in your life, no matter what, you should always be number one on that.
Mm,
You cannot take care of others unless you take care of yourself first.
yeah. Done. Period. Love that. I'm so grateful for you. I can't wait to meet you in person. I can't wait to hear about Hawaii. I can't wait to keep celebrating everything that you're accomplishing. Thank you for creating this awesome community. Please do reach out to Dr. Jaime, follow at Rainbow Career Coaching. If you have any questions for either of us, please add them, tag us, whatever. We are so excited to help. We are so excited to continue to build community. Thank you for listening, and bye, everyone.